Donald Trump, once again at the center of global diplomacy, says he will meet Vladimir Putin in Hungary to talk about peace in Ukraine, a move that could reshape not only the war but the future balance of power between East and West. For months, whispers had filled the corridors of Washington and Brussels, rumors of secret calls, back-channel negotiations, and private messages between Moscow and Mar-a-Lago. But now, the rumors are no longer whispers. They are headlines. Trump himself confirmed it. After what he called a very productive call with Putin, he plans to meet him face-to-face in Budapest, a symbolic choice. Hungary, a NATO member that walks the line between the West and Moscow, led by Viktor Orban, one of the few European leaders still openly close to Putin. The location says everything. This is not just a meeting. It's a statement. Act 1. The return of the deal-maker. In the eyes of his supporters, Trump has always seen himself as the man who could end wars through strength and unpredictability. "Only I can make the deal," he once said about North Korea. Now, as the war in Ukraine drags into its fourth brutal year, and as Western aid shows signs of fatigue, Trump is stepping back onto the world stage, not as president, but as a private citizen with global influence. But questions echo in every capital. Is this diplomacy or theater? The timing is striking. His statements come as the U.S. heads toward another high-stakes election, with global alliances hanging in the balance. His critics call it reckless, even dangerous, undermining official U.S. foreign policy and emboldening a Kremlin still accused of war crimes. But his supporters see a man breaking the gridlock, doing what no one else dares to do: talk to the enemy. In Moscow, officials have been careful, neither confirming nor denying details, but smiling through silence. Kremlin insiders described the call as warm and forward-looking. In Washington, the reaction was cold. The State Department reminded reporters that Trump has no authority to negotiate on behalf of the United States. Still, the world is watching. Act 2. The shadows of the battlefield. Ukraine, meanwhile, remains caught between exhaustion and defiance. Each day of shelling, each night of blackouts, each whispered prayer in underground shelters deepens the sense that something must change. But for Kyiv, Trump's move raises a terrifying question. Will their struggle be turned into a bargaining chip? President Zelensky, when asked, kept his tone diplomatic but firm. "Peace is not a performance," he said. "Peace must begin with justice." Yet even he knows, every negotiation begins somewhere, and often not where justice lives, but where power meets opportunity. Across Europe, reactions were split. Poland warned that any informal peace talk outside NATO coordination would be a dangerous precedent. Germany called it unhelpful. But Hungary? Hungary called it hope. Orban, the host, has long argued for a pragmatic peace, even if it means making uncomfortable compromises. And for Moscow, Budapest offers the perfect stage, a European capital that still welcomes the Kremlin's diplomats. Trump's plan, if realized, would make him the first major Western figure to meet Putin since the invasion began. Even unofficially, the optics alone would be explosive. It would send a message, not just to Washington or Kyiv, but to Beijing, Tehran, and beyond, that the old world order, where diplomacy followed office, might be crumbling. Act 3. The world holds its breath. The potential meeting in Hungary could mark a turning point, not necessarily for peace, but for perception. If Trump sits down with Putin, even as a private citizen, it could signal the start of a new kind of power diplomacy, one that blurs the line between personal influence and statecraft. Analysts warn this could undermine official efforts, confuse allies, and give Moscow propaganda fuel. But others argue that any dialogue, however unorthodox, is better than silence. In an age where wars drag on for years without solutions, perhaps unconventional voices are the only ones left to try. Yet beneath the surface, something deeper stirs. This is not just about Ukraine. It's about the story of leadership in a divided world. About two men who built their legacies on strength and defiance, now circling each other once again, this time not as adversaries, but as negotiators. The symbolism is undeniable, the risk enormous, the outcome unknown. As the world waits, one question remains. Is this the beginning of a genuine peace effort, or the opening act of another geopolitical drama?